Water Policy Center for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with you. And it's my great pleasure to be with you. Uh, I am working as a superintendent engineer in Water Resource Department. So, Water Resource Department construct dam, canals, and hydroelectric project, and it supplies water for irrigation as well as drinking purpose. So presently, I am pursuing my PhD at IIT Bombay, and this presentation will give me an opportunity to share the remote working practices which are which are initiated in my department as well as in construction industry after COVID has been had been arrived. So shall I start? My presentation is visible.
Yes, Mr. Praveen, your presentation is visible.
Yeah. So thank you. So first, in the initial part, I will try to give you the some brief about the construction sector and world economy. So as we know, world economy is very huge, and it is about its size is about $90 trillion US dollar. And in this economy, USA shares about a quarter of this economy is controlled by the United States. Second rank is at China, and third is at Japan. And India is at seventh rank, holding about 3.18% of the global economy, and its contribution is about $3.2 trillion. So, if we see the various sectors in the which are contributing in the economy in the entire globe, so there are many importantly three sectors. First is services sector, which is shown in the blue color. Second is the industry sector, which is shown in the orange color, and third is the agriculture sector. So, if we see the United States, about 80% contribution is from service sector, and 90% contribution is from industry sector, and only 1% contribution is from agriculture sector. The second biggest economy is China, in which 48% contribution is given by services sector, 43% is by industry, and 9% by the agriculture sector. India is a developing economy, and 57% contribution is given by the services sector, 26% by the industry sector, and only 17% in the agriculture sector. So, construction sector falls under the under the group of industry sector, and its contribution in Indian GDP is about 26%. So, if you see the India scenario of construction industry in India, so its GDP share is about rupees 20 trillion. This was the pre-corona estimate, but after corona its share was declined maybe by 25%, and it is currently this industry is contributing about 50 trillion rupees. But this amount may also change in future, and it is about 8% of the Indian economy. It provides employment to the 16% of the population, and it is the biggest job generator next to agriculture sector. And there are many incidences in the development of our country, like government set up few undertakings, national companies, and there are many private sectors who are working in this sector. And there is another sector, collaboration sector, which is a PPP and BOT. So this sector is a mix of government as well as private sector. So in this slide, I will briefly discuss what are the major impacts of the COVID-19 on construction industry. So the first major impact the construction industry faced is a reduction in demand, and this demand was because the lack of purchasing power of the customers. Then there is a liquidity crisis. So liquidity crisis from bank financer to the contractor and the developer. Then there is a change in construction practice due to physical distancing. So as we hear that many organizations started home working practices. So this might bring a huge impact in the working of this industry. Then if you see the impact of construction speed because of the COVID-19, because of the health and safety protocols which are required to be followed at site, the and physical distancing norm as suggested by the government, the progress of work was very adversely affected. So the work progress was very slow, and there are continuous medical checkups of all the workers, and supervisor is required to be carried out. The third impact is this two impacts causing time and cost overrun. So the structure which is required to be completed within 1 year is required is not able to complete in a designated timeline, and this resulted in the cost overrun. And this is leading to the contractual issues and disputes. So there are many contracts issue which is also adversely impacting with the progress of construction industry. For example, if tunneling work or metro construction work is if there is a restriction on imports, then development in this sector might be adversely affected. The only positive impact of the COVID-19 is this sector introduce information and communication technology and emerging technology in this sector. So as we know that when in December or January 2020, when there was a first sign of the corona in the China. So China started construction of a hospital, and this 1,600 beds hospital was constructed in just 12 days. So that is the speed of the construction at which this industry can operate. In England, the 500 bed hospital was executed in just 9 days. In India, in Mumbai, the 1,008 bed hospital was executed in just 1 month, and in Pune, the oxygen plant was executed in just 11 days, and the estimated timeline for execution of this work was 6 months. So we can imagine that health system and construction sector moves parallel along with the during this pandemic. So impressive speed of construction is one of the testament that there is a talent in the construction industry, and whenever there is a disaster, this industry comes forward and tries to cope up with the adverse impact of the disaster. So in this part, I will try to explain very briefly the emerging technologies which are being used in the construction sector. So before that, I would like to elaborate on there are 4 industrial revolution. The first occurred in 18th century, which was based on water and steam mechanized production. The second was based on electric power generation. Third was based on electronic and information technology. And the present era, we are living in the era of 21st century, which is having which is said to be a 4th industrial revolution, and which is based on the automation and data exchange digitization. So this industrial revolution will bring some positive as well as some negative changes. The positive change will that it will improve the efficiency, but it will also reduce the human job. The job curtailment will not happen immediately, and no 100% job replacement will be done by the robots or automation, but definitely it will hamper the employment. And construction industry needs decision making at various activity levels, so there will be some employment, some decision making activity will be handled by the human. So this is the last part of my presentation. So in this part, I will explain very briefly the technologies which are helpful in this sector. So first technology which is successfully deployed in water resource department as well is the application of drones. So the progress monitoring. So monitoring the progress of infrastructure can be achieved through drones. It can also monitor the functioning of machinery. So at the construction site, various machineries are operating. So that machinery's health is also monitored by the drone. Then process monitoring. Suppose concrete mixing is happening, so that process can be monitored using the drones. Measurement of quantity as well as quality can be achieved through the drones. And this drone is widely used for this surveying, topographical survey, aerial survey, land acquisition survey, contour survey, linear survey, and lidar survey. So, and this drone can generate 3D model, which is very helpful for planning process and decision making process. And recently there are underwater drones. So whenever there is a dam or reservoir or dock or harbor, so when we want to carry out the underwater surveillance, these underwater drones are very helpful. The augmented technology or virtual reality technology started using in project planning as well as project marketing phase. So this is a new area where augmented reality is being adopted for analyzing the various aspects of the project and to put these aspects to the customer. So there are robots which are being used for the excavation and earthwork. So this robot can be operated using a remotely controlled device. Then automation from for bricklaying. So this machine can lay a bricks. Once 3D layout is given as an input to this equipment, it can lay a brick. It is very speed, very fast, accuracy is very high, and it can work 24/7. So mass construction activity can be carried out using such instrument of reinforcement work, which and it can lay specific set reinforcement in proper order. Bar bending schedule is followed. All the bars are properly joined, and this is very accurate and fast. And this is the last technology which brings automation in smaller activities like plastering and flooring. So this technology is also widely being used in this sector. And in a concluding remarks, I just like to mention that construction sector plays a vital role in development, but due to the COVID-19 epidemic, this sector is severely affected. Considering all the odd things, only positive thing is that this sector is ready to adopt new technologies. This journey is tough, but we will overcome this and prosper again. And that's all. Thank you so much for listening my presentation.